Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where we talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Lethal Weapon. So, quite a few things in this episode went down. I do like when shows kind of do this, and this episode ended up doing that, where it's like you take two separate stories which seem like they're kind of their own thing, but end up kind of combining them and making into it all being connected. Because one, you have like the entire Murtaugh family on vacation. RJ's got that whole situation of he's trying to open up like essentially a weed shop. Rihanna's the only one who knows. He wants to tell his family. Trish is kind of panicking and freaking out and being like all stressful on everyone because she wants to make memories with the family because our kids are growing up and eventually they'll grow up and leave and never come back. So she's trying to compensate for that, and she's being a little like anal retentive about it, of being like, oh, we need to do this in the schedule and have fun, scheduling fun like that, getting a little manic about it. While Roger ended up pulling his back, just moving a chair. That had to suck. And then he has like a rear window moment, which is interesting. I referenced that movie because I'm not that familiar with the movie. I just know about the movie because Robot Chicken made a parody of it. That's the only reason why I'm referencing that movie. But it's like a guy that's stuck who witnesses a crime or whatever. Isn't that based on a Stephen King book? I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. I might be making it up. But I think that's kind of what they're going for in this episode. I kind of had a feeling that the people behind this was the couple that Roger was like, they about to do their thing. Because like for one, they kind of like when they went into the Stevenson family's room, it kind of looked like them from far away. It kind of looked like it was the same people. But also, like, that group, they had a room right beside them, plus they never opened their curtains again. So I was like, because Roger comments on it later on, he's like, oh man, still going at it, huh? But then later on, he's like, it's got to be that room because no one's got that much stamina. But I thought that immediately because, like, they still haven't opened their blinds. It was almost kind of like a little bit, I mean, I'm sure that probably did actually happen in Rear Window as well. The whole, like, Boy Who Cried Wolf, or in this case, officer that called crime, that went down and nothing happened and nobody believed him. Not Cole, not Bailey, not Trish. Just because Roger has a tendency to not just relax on vacation, and they're just thinking he was making stuff up. I love that Trish drunk rum and just kind of apparently lost it. I wish we could have seen it, but I guess it was just kind of like it doesn't sit well with her, so she gets drunk super easily. So it doesn't seem like she like partied it up and lost her mind. It was more so like she threw up everywhere, because that's why they ended up ultimately getting kicked out of the hotel. But this all is connected because Roger gets arrested by like, I forgot what it is, but the senator kind of has her own personal police force that kind of looks after her, kind of like the Secret Service does for the president. So it's kind of interesting, but obviously, like, kind of tying this into Cole's story, the fact of the matter is Erica's mom shows up. Also, Erica and Cole are bonding, and they're kind of joking and laughing, a little bit, talking about Cole's mom, her being his best friend, only person who really knows him. And I think that itself is kind of foreshadowing, but also, like, because that whole conversation comes, well, I'll get to it later. Hopefully I don't end up forgetting, but like they're joking and having fun, and then he leans in because obviously it's got this res media thing of like starting off like we're in the middle of the story and we're kind of rewinding it and explaining what went down. And Cole is like, no, it didn't start with your family. This all started with the lean in, and everyone's like, okay, so what's the lean in? And Cole tried to lean in to kiss Erica in this like moment because she was like, oh yeah, like. Because Cole's like, your mom will like me. And then like Erica's like, of course, everyone likes you. You're very likable. And then she was like, wait, what were you doing? What was the lean in? He's like, what lean in? I was trying to get some food. But she's like, no, I saw it. You leaned in. He's like, no, I didn't. I was like, that's so good. That's so awkward. And he tries to explain it later. I was like, no, me and Erica are just going to be friends and stuff like that. Then he also messes things up because he refers to Erica's mom as a prostitute, because it's like, oh yeah, for the case they got prostitutes. I also love that little thing at the beginning too, where it's like, oh yeah, Cole, look down and see something interesting in the chair. I mean, look down and you'll see something else I find interesting. And then Cole looks down and sees the dude's pants down. He's like, oh God, I didn't need to see, I didn't have to look down and see that. And Bailey's like, no, I'm talking about this stiletto in his chair. He's like, yeah, that's not the first thing my eyes got attached, like my eyes locked onto. But so this is all about call girls and stuff, and he's up there, they're having that conversation, and like it's so ambiguous that the senator thinks he's talking about her position as a senator and stuff like that, and he refers to her as a prostitute, and he's like, wait, what, senator? Wait, Erica, this is your mom? It's like, yeah, he just called me a call girl. Erica's like, why would you assume my mom was like a call girl? He's like, I want to, Cole, can you tell me the reason? What was it? Do you want to let me know why you thought my mom was a call girl? And he's like, not really. And so there's that situation. And then there's a situation later on when he's chasing the bad guy in that experimental Humvee, and it ends up flipping and rolling it. And he's like, yeah, I don't think we have made the best first impressions. Then she wants to meet with him. I'm like, oh, what's this all going to be? And it's kind of like the parent talk, which is so interesting because it's kind of like, it's kind of like, oh, you're taking my daughter out to prom or whatever. We're going to have sit down, like that father and the date meeting type of situation. Now it's flipped where it's kind of like, here's Cole meeting the senator. Like, I'm looking after my baby girl. So like, you know, she's like, oh, look at all this stuff in your file. It's redacted. You work with the CIA. But it's like, even with that, like, she's a senator. She's got connections. So she knows what Cole's done exactly. And for her, it's like, I want you to stay away from Erica. Because the fact of the matter is, Erica will never get to know you because there will be so much about yourself that she will never know, and she doesn't need to know because you have a lot of baggage. There's a lot of issues I could tell from just everything I see in that file. Because for her, she didn't want to get to know Cole because she felt like everything she needed to know was in that file. So she's like, if you were in my position, because you have a daughter too, if you were in that same position, and like if your daughter brought home someone like you, what would you say? And it's kind of sad because, you know, it's like you can understand she's looking after Erica, but at the same time it's kind of sad just because it's like, especially because I was like, yeah, him and Erica are hitting it off and everything. And even Erica kind of responded, she was waiting at his desk, and it's like, no, I wasn't waiting for you. Okay, truth be told is, she was like, I was actually scared. I wanted you to make a move. You know, I don't really date colleagues, I don't date cops, but I wanted you to make a move just because she was scared, you know, to, in that moment, that's why she kind of backed away. And she's like, what if I lean in? She leans in, but Cole backs away, and now it kind of ruins things between them. But they had that elevator moment, which I thought was kind of pretty neat. And him saying everything like, there's all this stuff about me. I have a daughter I love. I have an ex who I have a like complicated relationship with. I don't like mushrooms on pizza, and I snore. So she's like, why are you telling me all this? He was like, you know, this is me leaning in. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I thought that was kind of pretty neat. I'm kind of glad later on Erica's mom, you know, ends up explaining like, oh yeah, I had that talk with him. Erica's like, don't do what? That's an invasion of privacy. But she's like, the fact of the matter is, you see how wild and crazy he is. Like, he saved your life and everything. Yeah, but he's not good for us, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing. You can definitely, even in this a little bit, we got a peek into what the relationship is like. She's like, oh, give me this specific tea that I want. And it's like, okay, so walk me to my car. You know, it's like things on top of stuff with them. And it's just kind of like, that's so interesting. And even she said us. So it's kind of like any relationship Erica gets in. I mean, to be fair, it's a mom. So that's kind of like you're welcoming that person to your family. So it's like, he's not good for you and he's not good for me. So it's kind of like wash our hands and be done with him. But because even Erica being like, all that stuff in the elevator, that was him just kind of making a gesture. And, you know, her mom being like, my girl is too sensible to be kind of swayed by, you know, some crazy man's gesture like that or something like that. But it was enough to kind of sway her because, you know, it's probably, you know, in her mind, cemented her in her mind, like, yeah, I might not know everything there is to know about you, Cole, but I want to get to know you because I might not know all the stuff about what you did with the CIA, but I know you as a person, you know? So they end up making out later on and everything. I'm like, I'm happy about that, dude. Because I'm like, yes, because I like your chemistry already, and you know, and I hope, because you know things have a tendency to like not work out, you know, situations like this and shows like this. But I hope it does, because if it doesn't, things will be weird and awkward. But I'm definitely interested to see kind of, because even she admitted, she's like, don't you think it's kind of interesting? Like, there's plenty of other people that could be working with you guys, but I keep choosing to work with you guys because it's an excuse to keep working with you. I was like, oh. So that's definitely going to make family interactions more interesting going forward, just because we already know how Erica's mom feels about him. Cole feels like he made the worst, not the best impression, but I think he did. I mean, Cole's way, it's because, like I said, he is Mr. Chaos. It goes from worse to worse. It goes from bad to worse is what I meant to say. Because I think in my head I was about to say worse to worser, but I was like, that's not right. So I said worse to worse. Nevertheless, I did like that fight in the elevator scene. Because I like elevator scenes because to me, people fighting is such a confined area, is such a cool thing. So that's pretty dope. I also love that dude, the bad guy, cracking Murtaugh's back. He's like, oh my God, you fixed my back. You should think of yourself as a miracle worker. Like, that was just kind of interesting. It's so interesting because I also kind of thinking about Trish being like drinking the rum and everything. You've never seen her kind of like that, kind of like kind of a mess. You never see her like that because she's always collected, got everything under control typically. So it's just kind of interesting and funny to see her not like that. And I love later on when Roger ends up hearing, because RJ finally tells Roger, it's like, I've been waiting to try and tell you this. Me and my friends, we want to go into business. And then Rihanna drops it. It's like, hey, he wants to open a weed business. And his dad flips out. Roger ends up hurting his back yet again. And then, like, while Erica and Cole are making out, they hear that, and he's like, oh, let's close the blinds. Don't know who might be watching. And it's funny also because, like, Roger made that whole point of like, yeah, we're partners. I'm gonna have your back. Unlike you didn't have my back when you were supposed to. You're supposed to have my back, but you didn't. It's like, I'm gonna keep gloating and looming that over your head. And it's just kind of ironic because, like, while Roger's screaming out in pain, where is Cole? Oh, all hooking up with Erica, not having his partner's back yet again. So I thought that was kind of pretty neat in the long run. So it's also interesting too because it was like a little side note of this, but the reason why that Rihanna kind of got dragged on his vacation because she kept being like, I don't want to be here type of thing. But I guess it's kind of like because she knew her mom was kind of like getting all like, you know, controlling about the situation, stressing about the situation, so it made it not fun. So I guess that was the reason why she didn't want to go. I'm like, yeah, because they were talking about, because even Roger was like, oh, boo-hoo, you got caught drinking, and now you're on vacation, now you got to complain about it. Like, that was kind of an interesting thing to me, because I was like, yeah, why are you complaining? Why do you, I mean, I guess because it is a family thing, you don't get to just kind of enjoy it and do whatever you want to, because your mom is kind of like, oh yeah, everything's laid out for us. So, but they make her realize in the end, it's like, no, mom, like, it's okay. You know, we're always going to have crazy stories. You don't have to always worry about it, because look at, like, we went on vacation and we got caught up in a plot to assassinate a senator. So it's like, yeah, there's always going to be crazy stuff around. We don't need to kind of plan things out, you know, that capture these moments, because we'll always have special moments like this in some shape or form. So I thought that was pretty neat. Like I said, in the long run, I'm very hopeful that things continue to work out between Cole and Erica. The fact is that it comes up like this, though. I mean, his past has already come up so far this season, but I'm curious, is it going to come up again? Because, I mean, there's a lot in his file that's redacted. He's made a lot of enemies over the years. So I'm curious to see what ends up coming about all of that. Also, like, going forward, was things going to be, like, weird and awkward, the whole Natalie situation? I'm curious, like, will there ever be any shift of, like, Natalie feeling a little, like, whoa, you're with someone else? I mean, she's happy for him. She kind of pushed him towards this. It's kind of neat because, like, the last episode, you did see that, like, Erica kind of looking at Cole as she was leaving, because, like I said, she got to understand him and know him a little bit more. And I think, like I said, she's kind of seen who he really is, you know. So I'm, like I said, I'm curious to see how that all continues to develop. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.